Hi there. Crimson Gray once again. Another project, another thing to talk about. You know the drill. Let's get right into it. And ho, ho, ho to all of you holly jolly listeners. Anyway, as some of you know, I am hugely invested in a lot of mod projects, mod teams, and just the creation of mods themselves. I won't lie, obviously what kind of jump-started this whole thing about voice acting, game design, and game writing was Fallout. And so, even though most people know me from Val Serrano, the Skyrim Pirate Companion mod, I want to deliver for those who stuck by me for my Fallout content. And for those of you who have, whether it's Crispin's Tale, my Fallout roleplay series, the How I Voiced a Drug Dealer in Fallout 2, I have something to deliver for the holidays, which is, of course, how I voiced a biker Santa in Fallout 4. But how did such a thing even come about? Well, let me show you something from C3.
Ho, 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 oh, you Twitchers and viewers. It is I, Crimson Gray, a.k.a. Double Color Man. Here I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what to expect from merry modded days of 2024. As Concord stories may be coming out by then, but nah, I got a little funny quest for you. By funny, I mean holly jolly. By holly jolly, I mean merrily brutal. For Santa Claus is what to expect. Santa Claus will be a traveling vendor, usually located outside Diamond City, as of current documentation, to be giving out nice grandma-knitted sweaters and punishing the naughty of the Commonwealth. His reindeer are nothing but slaves of old raiders who decided that stealing and pillaging was gonna be their ticket to good gifts. Well, Santa Claus had something to give them. So you may get yourself a nice, itchy sweater from Santa Claus. You may even help Santa Claus with his gift giving across the entire Commonwealth to all these bad, naughty raiders. Or you could just simply buy stuff from him and just go about your day. So with all that said, it's been Crimson Gray. I will let my dear friend take it away.
So in that context, obviously, from the clip you probably saw, that was my little advertisement for Merry Modding Days of our first ever C3 panel, since, C3 is kind of a new thing, promising that, of course, there was going to be a Santa Claus-themed quest mod involving a biker Santa. And here we are. Mods out, thanks to my good friend Pignus Cube, aka just Pignus, who is the lead of the CSCP team. Thanks to them, we have got the mod right out the door on their mod page, because obviously they did all of the implementation work. They added some cool assets and nif-bashed them for the Santa Claus character that you're seeing on the screen right now. They did all the quest beats I wrote and voice acted for, and without them, this wouldn't even be possible. So special shout out to them and my great friend Veda Phoenix for setting this up, because Veda Phoenix is the organizer, the helper, and Veda Phoenix has been organizing Merry Modding Days for I think about 2 or 3 years now. But don't let me just say that. I'm going to read the description that you can find on the Merry Modding Days website that I will always have linked in this video description, which is the following. Our team is once again working on putting together a nearly month-long event to celebrate modding. Basically, the calendar will have featured links each day of December until Christmas, featuring a new mod and or a trailer of an upcoming mod to show off the work that the modding community is doing. The idea is to have something each day, like the advent calendar, but it's not chocolates this time. It could be related to the holidays, winter, or not. It could be a mini-mod, trailer, and any creation related to Bethesda game modding. We still display the featured mods each day. We appreciate all the hard work you put in to make games more interesting for everyone, and would like to show it off in appreciation. If you are interested in learning more, please join us on the Collective Modding Discord server and start collaborating, or just hang out with the cool kids. And so, that is all we could get for Merry Modding Days. Simple, sweet, to the point, and of course there is a submit function that you could always do if you are interested yourself as a creator in Merry Modding Days. So, as you're probably seeing it on the screen, the website is displayed, check it out, and that is where, of course, you're going to be finding my mod and many other people's mods. Okay, so, thank you Veda for all that. Now, we're going to get right into things. How it came to be, how I conceived it, how I wrote all the dialogue for it in the Fallout 4 creation kit logic, and of course, the voice demonstration. So let's just kind of go all the way back to the very beginning. How did this happen? Well, I joined Concord Stories first because Veda pitched the idea to me as a way of working with her, and I figured, hey, it's kind of a neat idea to work on a sim settlement add-on that essentially just adds a bunch of cool vendors and NPCs and some minimal amount of quests. So after doing this for about a couple months, adding some vendors, NPCs, and so on, I then caught wind of Merry Modding Days, at least from last year. And from last year, of everything I saw, and of course I helped out with the narration of the Merry Modding Days trailer, organizing for the C3 event, where I did the advertisement of Santa Claus for 2024, I became greatly invested in the concept of a biker gang Santa making it to a December for Fallout. Fallout 4 may not be my favorite format of modding and or Fallout in general, but I do very much appreciate the community in Fallout 4, how open-ended and collaborative every mod author is in the scene, and just seeing the magic of what Pignus Cube made with Santa Claus, with the quest beats, with the implementation of where you find Santa, to obviously implementing the voice that I do. It's just awesome. It is just incredible. In the short amount of time that Pig was given, and his capability to conduct all of that within the span of such a short time, is only showing how talented they are. So, once again, another shout out to Pig, because that is insane. And while I'm at it, here's a full credit list of everyone involved with the assets that we did use, as well as Veda Phoenix for doing a lot of the sweaters. Support all these people here because they really did add each element, layer, and piece of character to this mod. And now, without further ado, I think you guys want to know how I did the voice, right? Well, before you do know, I have to go over the fact that I wrote and designed Santa Claus. So this is where, as a voice actor, if you become your own creator and writer for you to voice your own character, you're aces, always, because who isn't knowing the best way of how to approach a character besides yourself, who made the character? So I'm actually going to do something that I kind of only semi-promised my channel to be, but I never found a way to implement it until now, which is game design writing. That's right. I'm actually going over how I approach game design and mods and writing for mods. Because, really, I've only ever talked about that when it came to co-writing for Val Serrano. And while I do have plenty of projects soon to be released that will have more of me as a designer, writer, and even a voice director, we're not there yet. We are here. So let's just focus on this for the video. Yes, I know, I'm basically blue-balling you guys, but if you want to skip to the voice demonstration, I always have everything timestamped, so just skip ahead to where you see it on your screen. But for those interested in how I came to writing Santa Claus, I'm going to go over kind of the influences, the things I desired to see more out of Fallout 4 and just Fallout in general in the modern age of gaming, and more just my thoughts and how I usually design characters. So the first part about how to properly design a character like Santa Claus is basically knowing how they gap. And I'm going to call it that because everything about Santa Claus is not really high par, above board, super official academic writing. Not even close. if you put this in front of your English teacher, even in high school, or I dare say middle school, they'd probably think that a third grader wrote this. And they wouldn't be wrong. I have pretty abysmal writing skills when it comes to grammar. But that's also where I decided to create Santa Claus's way of speaking to not be so proper. See, Santa Claus is a culmination of three things. Obviously, since he's a biker, you kind of want a more rough and tumble way of a biker speak. But to kind of substitute the fact that I don't really know that many bikers in real life, I kind of put in a little bit of a Stone Cold Steve Austin, a Scott Steiner, if you will, added with even some Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage-isms. He's basically a parody of an Attitude Era wrestler as a biker Santa. Yeah. So, this character is not supposed to be taken seriously. This is my attempt at my form of comedy and my form of humor, where I kind of just like the most ridiculous, cartoonish, clownish kind of characters from Fallout 2. There are many grave flaws with Fallout 2 that I acknowledge, and I know I've had nothing but lots of discussions, debates, and admissions to that fact. But I really like the idea of how Fallout 2 and the elements that were much more mature and baked over into Fallout New Vegas handles humor and ridiculous characters, like Mr. Fantastic, for example, which all ties into the second part of how to construct and create a character for a mod, or even game design. What is the end goal of the NPC? Are they to make the player feel upset? Are they to be friendly with the player? Are they to weird out the player? Or are they to get a giggle or a laugh out of the player? If it's the latter, then what is the effective way of doing that? Since this video is probably being posted to advertise the mod upon its release for Christmas and December, I won't really know if I'm effective at that end goal of getting players to laugh or giggle or find some humor in it until I get reception and full-on feedback. But in the presumptive chance that I can do that, and I'm shown to be successful at it, then my biggest advice, I guess, for people interested in how I would approach the answer is you have to make the player have agency to make fun of, ridicule, and target the absurdity. In the case of Santa Claus, I had to kind of move my way around with how awkward I was in dealing with the Fallout 4 dialogue wheel system. Again, Fallout 4 is not my favorite format for modding, and this is exactly why. Unlike the GEC of Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3, you really are limited vanilla-wise to the 4 dialogue wheel system. There are extensions and mods that fix this, but overall, I operate pure vanilla for the sake of knowing that not every player is gonna have these mods installed. So it became a big challenge for me to kind of wrestle over the usual ways I would format all dialogue, quest beats, and flowcharts by using the following tools: Lazy Voice Finder, Nukipedia, with how you could literally look up all the file lines of the Soul Survivor, and, on top of that, spreadsheets. Which, I'm going to admit right now, I have never used a spreadsheet until I joined Concord Stories. Never. That's the best I could say in terms of what to do, and if I demonstrate or even showcase what the script looks like, someone out in the comments who have dealt with spreadsheets for Fallout 4 Creation Kit, or even just Creation Kit in general, would probably look at this and be like, wow, that's very crude and nonsensical. And I would say, yeah, it is. But hey, I did it, I tried something new, and it was at least good enough for Pig to implement everything from, including with the voice files. So, mission accomplished, I guess. And that leads me into the third part of how to construct an NPC, or really just make mods with people in general, and that's reaching across the aisle. Reaching across the aisle is a huge benefit and skill, even if you decide, those who are watching, I'm going to do this all by myself. So why would I need to do that? Well, because every mod author from Fallout 4, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Skyrim, anything you could think of for modding purposes, is good at some things and better at other things. Let me explain. I've met mod authors who are amazing at level design, from interior to exterior, height mapping the entire area of a full conversion or DLC size mod. I've met mod authors who actually could add weather systems to a mod. I've met mod authors who can create guns, animations, textures, meshes, all of that. I even have met mod authors who could create full talking head animations for the classic Fallout engine, who could also do music and acquire casting calls for voice actors. I say all this because that's exactly how I started my Kitsune Voices channel from the ground up with the Talking Heads mod. And then I did that again with Val Serrano. And then I've been doing that again with many other teams that in the future, with more videos, you'll see. All of this is a collaborative community effort. Yes, you could do this all by yourself. Nobody is stopping you. And yes, if you can do it by yourself and you want to do it by yourself, absolutely do that. But do not be afraid to reach out. And I know some communities and some places and some internet cultures for these communities can be toxic. I mean, it happens, right? But don't let that deter you from meeting good people, asking these good people, and just, if anything, observing how they operate and how they do their magic. So if you do take my advice, not only will this reward you, but this will give you a lot of social skills, hopefully, that can translate into what working as a team feels like. See, when you reach across the aisle, it's not just about taking in talent. It's about helping the talent. It's about addressing what the talent needs, what the talent wants, and what's going to make the talent that you got have an easier time making this work. And so, reaching across the aisle in terms of knowing at the very bare minimum what your side of the plate is doing. For me, since I've only been doing the voice acting, the writing, and the directing part of most mod teams, I have to crudely learn what adding dialogue is like to each engine, from the classic OG Fallout to the GECK of Fallout 3 and New Vegas, and of course the creation kit of Skyrim, so Fallout 4. And so being able to do this has helped me significantly because I will always know the render format of what the engine needs to have for good quality performance when adding all this on the end of the implementer. And of course, when I come to pitch the quest idea I have, the flow chart and all the designs, the choices, the reactivities that the players can have, I understand exactly what is the flow, the realistic time it will take to implement all of this and not create such a daunting, overwhelming, impossible ask for the person doing this work for me. So, with all that said and done, that's kind of really it for how to do what I do when it comes to writing and creating NPCs when you're a part of mod teams, whether big or small or so on. Now that we're done with that, I can finally do the voice demonstration you guys have been wanting and go over how to do the voice demonstration. So, without further ado, let's just hear what Santa Claus sounds like, shall we?
Ho, ho, ho! Welcome to Santa Claus Lay and Bay, where we give the Commonwealth the gift that keeps on gifting. Oh, you see these naughty bastards. Raiders that thought pillaging the MA was gonna be their ticket to good gifts. I aim to convert that. They're shit stains of an anti-jolly defiler. Well, it's time someone changes their nature. So I turn them from naughty raiders to reindeer.
So, let's just start with the iconic ho ho ho, right? Because he's a biker Santa, so we kind of need to do that, right? So when we say, ho, 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 right? Normal voice. Okay, what if we try to do the belly laugh that Santa Claus in most media is known for? Ho, ho, ho! See what I did there? I went more in the throat area and in the belly gut. Diaphragm and just inflated, and then just went, ho, ho, ho! Okay, but we're not even close to Santa Claus. So what gives? Obviously, we're not doing the classic Santa voice. We're doing
Slay and pay.
See what I did there? Let's try to do the ho ho ho, but then see how it sounds with that voice.
Ho, ho, ho.
You're going still from the gut diaphragm area. You're going a little bit in the throat of ho ho ho. But then you're adding the rasp, so you're going ho 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 to
ho ho ho. And you're gonna keep your voice with your jaw a little bit out like an orc.
Your lower lip, if you could feel your lower lip kind of extend out into a bit of a fish lip at the bottom, that's gonna be perfect. And you should be hearing my voice sound like I got something in my mouth, because that's kind of what, your lower lip is gonna have you sound like. Don't overdo it, obviously, but you should at least feel your lower lip jutting out a tiny bit when you kind of do the ho 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 with the
ho 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 rasp. And you kind of jut your lower lip out every time you talk, as if you're an orc and you got tusks in your mouth.
Now, obviously, we're not going for an orc voice, so we shouldn't be having it to such an extent to where it sounds like Santa Claus has tusks in his mouth. Rather, we're gonna just lessen on that. The reason why I want you to practice the orc tusk voice before we do Santa is to kind of give you an understanding of where it comes from at the most extreme end, to then subtracting it a teeny bit to get more of that natural Santa voice.
So if you talk more like an orc, where you can hear the lip jut out and slur a lot around the voice, and then you go from here to then here, and then you're enunciating all of your words. You're gonna start to get a good idea on what Santa Claus is like.
So after you get the voice down, again, practice a lot with the orc extremity and then move a little bit on subtracting to get that voice down. You're gonna have to understand the way Santa Claus speaks. So like I mentioned earlier, I designed Santa Claus in the mind of Stone Cold Steve Austin, Scott Steiner, Macho Man Randy Savage, and a bit of Hulk Hogan on top of it. So what does this all merge into being? An Attitude Era wrestler. So what is Attitude Era wrestler speak? Well, simply put, if you look up a couple clips of Stone Cold Steve Austin in his heyday, to then even Scott Steiner, you'll notice that they're very macho, rambunctious. As it suggests, attitude-based. They go right in your face. Stone Cold Steve Austin is more of a
what? With a bit of breathiness underneath. We gotta do a little bit of jumping. What? A little bit of ass kicking. What?
Now, obviously, I can't really do a Stone Cold Steve Austin voice, so don't judge me on that. We're just taking some mannerisms of how Stone Cold performs. Next to, of course, Scott Steiner, which is more of a Okay, no, for real. That is not Scott Steiner. At least half the time. Scott Steiner is more of
he's fat!
Okay, I'm done. So what do we take from all of these kinds of wrestlers, and how do we morph it into the Santa Claus you heard? Well, we're going to tone a lot of those extremities down, because at the end of the day, this is for a biker Santa that sells you cookies and sweaters and asks you to kill raiders while he keeps raiders as reindeer, basically slaves. So the extremities already present itself. We don't need to go that over the top. Rather, what we need to do is keep in mind that because of the DNA of the Attitude Era wrestler, we need to know what a promo is. And who better than to ask my good old friend who hates to have sex and is a huge WWE fan, those two connect. We call him the Abstinator. So Abstinator, take it away.
What is a mustache? It is a little bit of hair growing over the upper lip. I don't have one. Nobody here has one. But you know what? A mustache is for a real man. See, of all the boys here, I have the best mustache of them all. 5 sentences. It's all it took for Eli Cottonwood to destroy any and every shred of credibility that he had. 5 mere sentences. You sit there and you thump your Bible and say your prayers, and it didn't get you anywhere. Talk about Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass. 3 sentences. Those 3 sentences, spoken by Steve Austin, have lived on forever in the minds of professional wrestling fans. In a world full of larger-than-life people playing larger-than-life characters, vying for your attention, what they do when they're talking to you is arguably more important than what they do performing for you. Bad matches can be forgiven if you care about who is in that match. But if you don't care about who is there, then does what they do really matter? Professional wrestling is and always will be an industry dominated by characters, and the most important part in conveying a character to the audience that is watching is what is known as a promo. Your job as a professional wrestler is to sell the next fight, to sell the next event, and to sell yourself to the audience for 30 to 15 minutes of screen time that you have. That time being your character talking directly to you about who they are, or what happened last week and what they're going to do about it in the future, or what they're trying to achieve currently. And in that period of time, the great ones always have their catchphrases, their rhyme schemes, and the believability of what they're saying is truly how their character feels. Now, I delivered the above 2 promos in this voice that I'm using right now because I'm trying to separate the emotion of what is being said from the words that are actually being said. If you want to truly hear the believability or lack thereof in the case of Stone Cold and Mr. Cottonwood respectively, please look up their promos, hear them speak, and see the difference. And all of this can exist to great fanfare outside of the world of professional wrestling as well. Take people such as Chael Sonnen, for example. He's not a professional wrestler. He doesn't need to speak into a microphone to get you to care about his fights. His fights are not scripted. They're real, and he's really fighting to be the best in the world at what he does. Yet, he chooses to deliver to us some glorious interview segments where he's not only selling his fights, he's making himself seem like a cocky, stuck-up, self-absorbed man, all to either make you love him or hate him so much that you want to pay to watch someone beat him up. He does all of this to sell his fights and to sell himself. Truly creating his character and putting it forth in the most digestible way possible by speaking directly to the interviewer and directly to you as an audience member.
So yeah, as my dear friend just demonstrated, that's how you gotta do Senta. You're gonna go as if you're announcing in front of a whole large audience your persona, your character. So when you do the
Ho, 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 and you talk about the naughty defilers and doing the ass kicking across the whole MA, you're getting the tonality down, you're getting it to the punch, you're getting it to the extreme. But then you have to realize you're talking to a player who's playing Fallout 4, so all the extremities of me just screaming has to be calmed down more like this, and only react in such an angry way if the player chooses something that they're gonna soon regret. And you also have to realize you really are, in your mind, Santa Claus in a biker jacket selling candy and sweaters knitted by grandmothers, and you're a vendor. So what that means is you have to kind of be a slick, laid-back kind of guy, saying all kinds of stuff. And you have to really keep in mind you love Christmas, so you love singing everything that is Christmas until you puke green, red, and white. I'm talking Jingle Bell, Jingle Bell, Jingle Bell Rock.
Now, of course, you need to be careful where you're not just doing this and then you're blowing out your voice, because remember, you have to inflate your stomach.
You have to talk more like this all the time, and if you start running out of air, you're gonna start noticing, it's getting stricter in the float, and then I'm gonna start choking myself out.
Don't do that. If it's hard to keep air in your stomach, and obviously this is new to you, you're gonna need to practice breath control, air control from your stomach altogether. And even if you still can't get it down right, just go line by line, pace yourself, don't overdo it, don't go for the long stretch. Really be careful, because you will hurt yourself, and if you do, you might not immediately lose your voice, but that is a bad habit you will start to have to make it possible for losing your voice. And I would rather deplete any chance for viewers, anybody that watch this video, to do that. So don't go over the top. Pace yourself. If it hurts, stop. Now I can go over what kind of person Santa Claus is, but he's kind of just a very short and simple mod for Christmas sake. And also, that would spoil way too much. You guys should just download and have fun with them. And, of course, with all that said, reminder again, credits where credits are. Look at the screen. This is all the people you should thank for this mod being out there. And we have reached the end of the video. So what that means is a shout out to my patrons that you'll see on the screen. Shout out to, of course, my lovely producers for all my concept albums and music that you've been hearing in the background. And just a special shout out to my sexless friend for the promo demonstration, and Veda Phoenix for Merry Modding Days, her collaboration in this video, and in general, having been a great friend to make this possible. And for the outro, special shout out to all my paid patrons of the $5, and the background music, as always, is from my dear friends and producers that help me with my concept albums that you can check in the description with my link tree, if, of course, you're into some spooky, abrasive music. So, it's been Crimson Gray, and I hope you had a holly jolly day.